Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. Time to jump on this part 1 of this Golang GraphQL tutorial. So in this one, we're gonna kind of generate the basic stuff we need for our app. So as I say in the last video, we're gonna make use of this library made by 99 Design called GQLGen. So this library, first you see it's pretty active, and you see 15 days ago last commit was really good. Like I told you, I've tried the other stuff and I really feel this one is the most feature. Have the more feature, the best documentation, and I really like this schema first. So what we need to do for that is, first thing, we're gonna open our text editor. Okay, I've created a brand new folder with just a gitignore where I put my .ida. I need that because I use a JetBrains product and they put this kind of stuff inside our project and I don't want to commit that. And that's it, I have nothing else. So the app, we're gonna call that Meet Me Up. I don't even know why I came with this idea. It's maybe not good, but yeah. So what we're gonna do first, it's the first thing we need to do is to create our Go mod project, like we've done in the last tutorial with the REST API. The mod is going to be kind of like our npm stuff. So what we do is we need to do go mod init, and here we give it a name. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make use of github.com, my username EQuimper, and I'm gonna make use of this name I use, go meet me up. Now with that, that's gonna create a file called go.mod where they put the version of my Go. So if you ask which one I use, it's 1.13. After that, here I'm gonna just enable the integration. It's just with my IDE. Okay. After that, here what I want to do, again, it's if you make use of JetBrains, I just need to start my file watcher to have the format. That's it. So now when I'm gonna see if that's gonna format, if you use VS Code, I think it's done by default. Now, what we want to do is to create our first file, which is gonna be a schema.graphql. Remember what I told you? The library, it's a schema first. So because it's a schema first, you need to create a schema before that generate the stuff you need. So what we're gonna have in our app, and first I forget to say, I hope you have some basic knowledge of GraphQL because I don't want to put too much time on that. I'm gonna show you some of the stuff, but it's gonna be good if you have some idea about GraphQL. But I think now a lot of people know what is GraphQL. So yeah. So we're gonna have a user with an ID. It's going to be type of ID. It's going to have a username. It's going to be a type of string, and it's going to be kind of a require, so I'm never going to send back null. So this is if you ask for the bank symbol. You're going to have an email. After that, a user going to have also some meetups. Meetups is going to be an array of meetups, and we're going to build that. So type meetup. In this thing, we're going to have also an ID, type of ID. A name, type of a string, description, type of a string, and also this one's gonna be belongs to a user where I'm gonna just put this bank symbol. After that, what we're gonna do is, finally I'm gonna create all the full schema, and after that we're gonna kind of fill what we need. So we're gonna have a query for now, and we're gonna have a query called meetups where we're gonna send back an array of meetups. And I think for now we're gonna stop there. Now, how can we start with GQLGen? So they have some command. The way that works, it's you create the stuff I just told you, and you run this command here. Go run GQLGen init. If I can select all that, I'm gonna paste that, and they don't. Okay. And now I'm gonna just go back there, and I'm gonna init the project. Take some time, perfect. Now you see they create kind of the boilerplate of the our app what we need. So they create a lot of files. Okay, so we're gonna go one by one over them, and we're gonna understand what happened. So the first thing they create, they create a folder called server where they put a server that go file. In this server, it's finally just the boilerplate we need to start our server. So we have a default port, 8080. Here it's some code about like try to get from the .env stuff a port from the process env. If we don't have it, we set the port to be the default value. After that, we create our playground, GraphQL playground. We're gonna see that in a moment. It's finally the way to play with the GraphQL, so you see everything. It's almost like you have with Node, with Apollo and things like that. It's the same playground. After that, here they have create the other stuff where they're gonna put all the schema and things like that, where they have the resolver. Finally, we just about like listening to a server. They use the HTTP from the HTTPnet package. So they use a lot of the standard stuff. The only thing they need is my meet me up stuff, which you're gonna see in a moment, and my lure. So this is for the server file. So here it's kind of the beginning of our server. Kind of think about it like it's the index.js we have a lot in Node. After that, another file we're gonna have is gonna be one of those we're gonna pass them more time, and I can remove that. It's gonna be the resolver folder file. Inside the resolver file, sorry, they create a resolver struct where finally you need to kind of follow the. Finally, what we want to do is fill the interface they're gonna give us. And now we're gonna have this. So inside the resolver, we're gonna have a method called query. We need to return a resolver query resolver, and this query resolver need to return the first function we've create inside our schema GraphQL, which is called meetups right there. As you can see, this query resolver need to have this meetup. So if I show you right there, you need to have a function meetups. We're gonna receive the context and return a slice of a pointer meetup and an error. All that is the interface. Now, if you ask, oh, which file where I am, is the generated.go. So here, it's the file where you do not edit, you do not touch that. It's gonna be all the stuff they do behind the scene for you, okay? So like I told you, they don't want you to have an interface, an empty interface where finally you can pass everything. They want you to have types. So for getting types, they need to generate a lot of code for us. So as you can see, they have, just with what we've done, almost 3,000 lines. A lot of stuff. You can read this, but yeah, don't bother that. I mean, it's just some code. The only thing maybe you want to see is our query resolver need to have here with the context. So as you can see, they have create some of the struct we're gonna have, so the meetup, query, and user, and they're gonna do some logic with all of that. And yeah, now one of the most important file is gonna be this GQLGen YAML file. So this file, it's gonna be the file where you need to tell the library where to find its stuff. So example, where to find the schema. If you will have named that, I don't know, like Bob.GraphQL, here I will have changed that for Bob.GraphQL and that schema.GraphQL. After that, they want to check which file to exec, so finally the generated part. So they take the generated.go. After that, they want to know finally where to get kind of like the model. So is the gen model, so the file we just got. The resolver, where is the resolver? And the type, so it came from the resolver type. And some auto bind, it's all those stuff, they have this in their document. So if you go there and you go in configuration, you're gonna see everything you need here. Yeah, a lot of stuff. So now the thing is, I don't want my model to be generated from them. One of the, what I try to say is, if you read inside their docs, you're gonna see what I meant by that. They're gonna say here, how do I prevent fetching child object that may not be used? The thing is, by default, they're gonna fetch the child, and you don't gonna want that. So what you want to do, it's you can use of a custom model. This is what we're gonna do. Or what you can do, it's inside the inside the GQL YAML. You can say, hey, I want the friends, example in this case, because the user have an array of friends, to force to generate a resolver. What I decide to do finally for me, it's to just don't use this gen for those model I'm gonna have, and just finally pass my stuff and updating this. So what are we gonna do is we're gonna create a new folder called models, and inside that we're gonna create our first one called meetups. And what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take this type meetups and I'm gonna remove it from that, and I'm gonna paste that there. And after that, I don't want the user to came from this model at all. After that, I'm gonna do the same for the user. Model gen. And now I'm gonna take this right there. Now this model gen file is gonna be there to create our input and stuff like that. You're gonna see that in some other video. But for now, we don't want them to generate this. So now what we're gonna do, it's here, we need to tell them, hey, for some of the model, so for some models, example, our user model, I want the model to came from github.com/EQuimper/ meetup/model/user. Here, all this line here is coming from my go.mod file with this same thing of that. After that, the /model is because the user is in package model. That's why. So now I'm gonna copy that below and make sure to follow the indentation. It's a YAML file, so it's really important. Here, that's gonna be for the model meetup. I want to use meetup like that. Now I'm gonna paste one line of file at the top of my resolver file, because this one never gonna be regenerate again. And the file and the line I'm gonna paste, it's gonna be this file, this line called go run GQLGen. Finally, we did make use of that before to init, but if you rerun it, they're gonna regenerate what you need. -v, it's for the verbose stuff. Here, it's a way for you to go to finally call those functions. When you call like go generate and thing like that, for me, I can just click play. Here we break up our stuff here. So I'm gonna just import the models. I think in VS Code, that's gonna auto import also when you save. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna click go generate file, just to see if that work. If that work, what I've done, adding resolver method for nothing match. So we see we get an error. So look like if I go to my okay, no, looks like everything is working. You see my meetups, perfect. They have the stuff. Yeah, looks like it work. It's just what I think happened. It's to make sure it work. What I'm gonna do is I'm gonna create a mutation just to make sure. You're gonna see that, and we're gonna make use of this mutation later. So I'm gonna create here an input type called new meetup, and that's gonna have a name, a string, and a description string. All those need to be required, and after that we can create our mutation called create meetup, where we're gonna have an input who's gonna be a type of new meetup. It's required, and that's gonna return a meetup. So now if I came back here and now I generate, we're gonna supposed to still have our model gen file. Yeah, like that. And now you see they generate our new meetup, but they don't touch nothing else. Meetup that go for me, nothing match. One sec. I think I maybe have one issue. I'm gonna rerun it one time again. Okay. Looks like I still have an issue. So what happened? User adding resolver method for meetup, nothing match. Okay, yeah, I know what happened. It's now what I forget, what I want to do, it's I want them to have our generator, our resolver. So the only thing I need to pass is those things. Where I did get that, it's from this custom model you see right there. So now if I run it, so we explicitly told them, hey, generate the resolver. And now I think nothing match. Okay. Inside our Meetup resolver, okay, we get it. Okay, yeah. It's just now, it just finally I cannot start because now I need to follow those things. So what are we gonna do? Sorry about that. It's now we have our query. We also want our mutation, okay? The way that's gonna work, it's we're gonna do the same thing as what we did with the query. The only thing is we're gonna call that mutation resolver. It's gonna be a struct. This one gonna also receive a pointer resolver. And now here I'm gonna have my mutation. It's gonna be called mutation resolver. I'm gonna return mutation resolver. Now you see this one is not happy because he need to implement some missing method like the cream meetup, the one we just create. And now looks like it's pretty happy, but now what is missing? It's, if you remember when you do other GraphQL stuff, I'm pretty sure you know then you have a parent and you have a child. What I mean by that, it's example, your parent maybe sometime gonna want to have a nested resource. Example, a meetup have a user. So I need to tell the meetup how to get his user when we ask for that. So the way we work for this, it's gonna be pretty simple. It's we need to create. So what I'm gonna do here, I'm gonna create another resolver called Meetup resolver. It's gonna be a struct where I'm gonna have another pointer resolver. And what I want to do, it's to create another function, a method to my resolver pointer called not my resolver pointer, but my mutation, not mutation, because I want to put that below, Meetup resolver. So I'm gonna call that like that, Meetup resolver. And here what I want is the method called user. And here what I want to return, it's a pointer to a model.user or an error. Now the thing is, how can I get this user? It's now what you need to do finally, it's to figure out which type you need to follow for that. And that's why the generate part came. And you see, the Meetup resolver need to follow this interface. I'm gonna just copy that. And I'm gonna jump back to my resolver and I'm gonna change all that for this. You see, like that. Or if you make use of Golang like me, you can come here, you selection your Meetup resolver, you say implement interface, you search for Meetup resolver, and now they're gonna follow. They're gonna finally put all the stuff you need. Now that's how we're gonna be able to say, hey, what is the user you need to return and things like that. So now what we're gonna do also is we need to do that for the user and to show him his meetup. Because if we go back to the generate, we have the Meetup resolver, but also we have the user resolver where we need to have the meetup. So I'm gonna copy that, or again, you can do like I've done. And that's where we're gonna now create our user resolver, where we're gonna have a struct with a pointer resolver. And when it's like that, I like to have this in one line. I'm gonna add a method for my user resolver. And I'm gonna paste that like this. And that's gonna be user resolver because this is from the struct. Perfect. So now how can we work with that? So in this video, I don't want to connect any database, so we're gonna all make that by in memory. So we're gonna create our Meetup variable, where I'm gonna add here slice of Meetup. So what I'm gonna do, I'm gonna just set up that model.meetup. Okay. After that here, I want to start and fill the first one. So I'm gonna have an ID. And now, as you can see, also the ID, because I say the type if it's an ID, if you remember in the Schema GraphQL, they generate that to be a string first. So I'm gonna say 1. I'm gonna put a name of a Meetup and a description of a description. After that, I'm gonna do the same thing to another one. I'm gonna have an ID of 2, name of a second Meetup, and finally here a description. After that here, what I want to do, I want to create the same stuff as slice of user. What I'm gonna have here, user. I'm gonna almost copy that. I know it's not the same thing, but just to go quicker, just here I'm gonna change that to be username, and I'm gonna call that Bob. And that here for email, I'm gonna say bob@gmail.com. And finally here, that's gonna be also username, and I'm gonna call that here John. And here that's gonna be another email, where here I'm gonna use john@gmail.com. If I save, everything is format perfect. Now the thing is how I'm gonna be able to manage the fact that a Meetup is belong to a user is because we are creating our own model. I can just come here, say we have a user ID, it's gonna be a type of a string, and if you want, you can follow the stuff with the JSON stuff. So now why I say that is because I can say this one user ID is gonna be 1, so it's gonna be Bob, and the user ID here is gonna be John. Now, what I want to do, it's first we're gonna fill up some of the stuff we have. So here we have the query resolver for the Meetups. Here, easy one, we return our Meetups and error. Not error, but nil. Now here, they don't like it. It's just because, they don't like that type of that. So I need to do this like that. And now they should be able to get it. Perfect. For now, I'm gonna return nil for them. Nil. And I think we're good. I want to be able to start a server. So the way you start a server is gonna be pretty simple. Go, run, server, let go. You don't like it? Cannot use Meetup resolver literal time Meetup as time infill Meetup. Okay, yeah. So now what happened? It's our server here, and I don't like to have my config like that. So I'm gonna create here a C for config. I'm gonna put this line, and now I can just put C. And now you see this one don't like it because this one is supposed to receive. So if you go to this one, is a resolver is supposed to get the resolver you need to make sure you're gonna get it. So if I go inside this one, what you don't like, as type resolver root. Okay, yeah. So it's the resolver root. So we need to search resolver root. Is right there, and you see this one need to add the user resolver in a Meetup resolver. And that's the thing is missing right now. So the way we make it work, it's we just forget to follow one of the resolver stuff here. So our resolver is query resolver. You have his mutation. And what is missing? Sorry about that. It become messy here, but don't worry, we're gonna break that in multiple file. Now what is missing is inside the resolver, we miss func resolver And what we miss is the user one, where we're gonna return a user resolver. What you don't like about that? As a pointer resolver. Okay. One sec. What I've done in my user resolver, I have my Meetup resolver. My Meetup resolver. Okay. I maybe see what happened. I have my Meetup resolver here is not used. Unused type Meetup resolver. Okay. And my user resolver is there. And okay. So this is what I'm missing. It's here I have the type. So what I miss is really the Ara resolver Meetup, where I want to return a Meetup resolver. And I'm gonna return this Meetup resolver like that. And I want to do the same thing for the user resolver. And here's gonna be user resolver. Now the thing, it's maybe I think is the generate code was not good, because you remember the error we did get. Adding resolver method for nothing match. Okay, Meetup, nothing match. What I've done in my GQLGen, maybe I've done something bad, sorry about that. I might feel, you see it's right there. Copy paste, this is what happened. It's user right there, I forget that. So the user Meetup, we want a resolver, and the Meetup.user, we want that. Now that should work. Sorry about that. Perfect. Now you see it's working. So this is what you're supposed to get, is just one line. And now, logically, this thing here don't like it. Okay, and this thing don't like it because what we forget to do, finally what I forget to do, is inside my type resolver. Inside my type resolver, what I forget is in generate resolver interface here, the resolver root need to have the user and the Meetup. And the thing I'm missing. If follow interface cannot use R. This thing I'm not quite sure, because you see now if follow the interface. Sorry about that. Okay, yeah, we good. Now terminal, we can start it. If we can start a server, should be good, perfect. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go to this localhost 8080. So localhost 8080, right there. So if I'm clicking here in my schema, you see we get everything we have. Perfect. So now here I'm gonna create a query called get meetups, where here I can call my meetups and I want to receive the ID. Perfect. You see, I get ID1, ID2, name, and I can get description. Now if I try to get a user with an ID and a username, now it's breaking internal system error. What happened? It's now, if you look at this error, implement me. So what happened? It's we call our Meetup resolver right there, user. Now here what we should do is we need to return a user. The thing is, what we have, it's a slice of a user. So what we can do is we can loop over that and checking which one need to be get returned. And if you look here, we get an obj for object, and this is his parent, who is the Meetup himself. So you can do a loop where here we can have a user inside a range of the user slice. If the user that ID is equal to the object that user ID, so that means is the real one. So what I'm gonna do here is I'm gonna say user, it's a new model user to receive a new instance of a pointer to a model user. You see, pointer to a model user. Now I can say user, it's I'm gonna call that u, and here I can say u, like that. After that, if I find it, I want to break my loop. I don't need to go further. Here, if my user equal nil, I want to return nil, so no user at all. And the error is gonna be user with ID not exist. It's not supposed to get there, but we just do more security just to make sure. And finally, here I can return user and nil. Now if I restart my server and I go back there and I click enter, boom, now we get our ID for the user, ID1, username Bob, and we can even talk for the email. Pretty nice. Now the only issue is we don't have the other way around. So what I mean by that, it's if I want to get the meetup for a user, now we get an empty string. An empty array. What happened? It's now our user have a meetup here and we return nil right there. So now we need to figure out a way to get the meetup for to return it back. It's gonna be another pretty simple. All that, don't worry, gonna came from the database with GoPG. So now what do we need to do is I'm gonna create a slice of pointer model.meetups, and I don't want to be a slice. What I'm gonna do to make it simpler, because now what happened is we're gonna have a pointer to a slice of pointer meetup like that. Now here we're gonna loop again with the meetup now range. And now, if m.user ID equal, and you see now, object is the model user ID. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna say meetups equal, and this is the way you can add a thing to an array in Golang. You don't have push, so you just say what was the value before and what element you add. And finally here, I'm gonna return meetups and nil. What do you say? Loop is always kept because meetup is always nil. I'm gonna call that M. Here that's gonna be meetup. I'm gonna say meetup. I'm gonna say meetup. Here that's gonna be M. And here M. Don't worry, all that's gonna be done by the database later. So now if I run it, I go back here and now I send it, and now boom, you get our meetup belongs to a user. And now, I mean, if you want go crazy, but yeah, it should never ever happen. You should never almost go more than just one step like that. So that's gonna be it. That's gonna be this for this video. I hope you enjoyed it. You see, maybe right now it looks a bit crazy what we need to do for that, but you're gonna see how easy it's gonna be to add new feature later. In the next video, we're gonna start to add the database layer, so we don't gonna have this crazy stuff to do all in memory. And yeah, I hope you enjoy it, and we're gonna talk in the next one. Bye everyone.